And then from your journey, Chiara, when you showed up on LinkedIn and when you grew what we discussed now, I'm sure audience would love to hear if you've got any advice or ideas how to grow, how to build your brand. I don't want to say go viral, but how to just grow consistently, whether it's following clients or even your personal brand.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that go into it. And I think the first thing to get super clear on is like, what are your goals for the platform? So do you actually want to grow your account, or do you want to get clients, or do you want to get on podcasts, for example, like this? Like, what is your goal to the platform? I'd say to start with, no matter whether you're a business owner or whether you're someone in a 9 to 5 job, getting visibility on your brand is important. So I'd probably go through like a little bit of a growth stage to start with, try and create
Mhm.
content that gets eyes on your brand and who you are and what you do. And then from there, you can then start building in that authority content, which is what I talk about the most and what I really specialize in, is actually helping people build a real authority rather than just creating sort of relatable, shareable content that anyone else can do. Because that content's great, like I said, for visibility and getting eyes on your brand to start with. But when you're
Mhm.
actually wanting to get a job or get seen by a recruiter or get a dream client like land in your inbox, you're actually going to have to be showcasing your expertise. You're going to have to be building trust. You're going to have to be sort of making real connections with people. And those are all the things that sort of come in a little bit later on, but are super important.
That's a great point because again, you may see someone that does one thing, I don't know, posts with this consistency or this type of content, but again, you don't know what is their goal, and maybe your goal is completely different. So it doesn't really make sense to you to copy them if you are like in a different places.
Exactly. You have no idea what someone else's goals are. And a lot of people in different niches and different industries have naturally very different goals for their brands. And I think
Mhm.
it's super important to get crystal clear on what you want to do and what you want your personal brand to help you achieve. So I think when you go into it with, I'm just going to grow my brand and see what happens, that's when you fall into very quickly like chasing the engagement and chasing the impressions and things like that, which is obviously is you need to have that to some degree, but you can't be doing that forever. Otherwise you're never going to achieve anything from your personal brand.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to say that it's not really sustainable to keep chasing the latest trends and trying to go viral all the time or something.
Exactly. It's all about, I think, showing up on socials and especially platforms like LinkedIn are really important, especially if you're a business owner or if you're wanting to become sort of an industry leader. But you can't spend all your life on a platform. It's not sustainable. You have a job, you have a business, you have other things to be doing in your life. You're spending all day
Yeah.
on them. Chances are what is happening behind the scenes. So what we're really trying to do is help you show up in the best way possible for as little time as possible. And so when you're on the platform, you need to be intentional. You need to make sure that each piece of content is doing what you want it to do. You need to make sure that your interactions and conversations, they can be organic, but they need to be sort of achieving something at the same time. And I think that's often the trap a lot of people fall into is they just show up without a goal and then they
Yeah.
end up doing everything and it takes over their life.
And maybe in the worst case, it leads to burnout. So it's not really worth it.
Exactly. And it happens way too often. Like it's happened to me before, especially in times where I've sort of not had a clear direction or a clear goal. And
Mhm.
it puts you off then sort of being consistent, which is one of the most important parts of building trust with your audience. If you're posting, I don't know, for 2, 3 weeks and then you jump off a platform for a month and you come back again for a couple of weeks, that consistency or lack of consistency isn't getting you anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And then, Kira, what is it, as we discussed this, what is it that helps you to stay consistent? Because, of course, it's not easy to show up regularly because sometimes you feel like it, sometimes not. So, what is like your reason or your why, or what helps you to keep showing up?
So for me, it's helping other people sort of find a life and career that they're really passionate about. I know the power of having a personal brand and the power it has in actually being able to help you maneuver and change career paths. So for me, it's really helping people, whether they're in a business or whether they're in a career, actually find something they're super passionate about and using their personal brand as that sort of vessel to get them there.
I like it. And I think a good question is something that many people struggle with is when you are starting out, how to find your first clients or any advice how to how to do it, because obviously there is a competition. It's hard, especially if you don't have a portfolio or any referrals. So what would you advise?
Exactly. Yeah, I think your point about the portfolio actually is a really good one, because even if you haven't had clients before, you can still create that portfolio for yourself. So you can do mock projects, you can sort of make up situations yourself. Sometimes you can put like a prompt into ChatGPT, for example, and say like pretend you're, I don't know, a client in this industry who needs X, Y, and Z, and then go through the motions yourself of working
Mhm.
with that client and then build that into a portfolio. They don't always have to be sort of real results to start with. They can be sort of just showing your process and the way you're working, and that speaks to a lot of people. I think second to that is actually just getting out there and making connections. You don't know
Mm.
where those things are going to lead. Like there's some conversations I've had with people a couple of years ago, and then they reach out sort of like 9 months later being like, I loved what you said back then, like I'm really interested in what you do now, like can we work together? So I think don't underestimate the power of actually just having conversations with people. You can be transparent and open, be like, I'm just starting out, sort of talk about what you do, what makes you different, learn to articulate those things well. And you never know where they will sort of lead in the long term. So that's what I'd say my main advice would be is, yeah, make
That is
relationships. Yeah.
that was a great point when you said that someone reached out a bit later, because sometimes it might feel like that you are posting, but no one maybe is really following or paying attention. But you never know if there is someone who's been following you for a long time in the background, and they are maybe just waiting for a perfect moment or when they need you. And then, as you said, maybe after a few months, they may just land in your inbox that it's just a perfect timing.
Exactly. And I think people often think personal branding, especially when they see sort of like influencers and people going viral, that personal branding is going to be an overnight thing. In like 99% of the cases, it's not. It's a long term sort of growth sort of strategy. And you
Mhm.
can't be thinking that you're going to be getting instant leads into your business, instant job offers as soon as you start posting. Like it's a long game. And that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why, like, I always talk about having like a good content plan, like having an actual strategy, because over time you're going to be pushing people sort of further towards wanting to work with you or reach out to you, and that's really important to remember, because yeah, it doesn't happen overnight, and you need to be sort of putting in those foundations over time to actually
Mhm.
sort of lead people in the right direction.